Morning. It is Wednesday, September 23rd, 2020. It's 2:56 a.m. I'm on my way to the gym right now. I heard something this morning that I knew it, but it's always good to hear reminders. It's always good to hear what you think is the truth being said by somebody else that you trust what they're saying. And it said that it's real hard to become who and everything you were supposed or intended to be when you're trying to fit in with people who haven't even decided to rise up to the occasion of their own potential. And you might say, well, how do I know that I am not living up to the potential of who I should be or who I could be because of the people that I'm trying to get along with? And if I had to think about it, then I would probably say you would know that if you're not rising to the potential of who you could be because of who you're around, if what they do you don't agree with, but you go along with it because you want to fit in, I would say that that's an indicator that you may be engaged in a relationship that may be holding you back from being or doing what it is that you were called here to do. And the area where I've struggled with that at the most is that if I have a fallout with somebody and not even for any particular reason, because I got to really think in my life, I think we're all guilty of doing something. I think we're all guilty of maybe losing a friend or being on the outs with somebody, but I don't think too many people have done something so severe. Now you go sleeping with somebody's wife, somebody's husband. I foresee a forgiveness. I don't foresee a mending of the relationship. But we're talking about fallouts and just disruptions inside of relationships that aren't really necessary. And because you want to hold the relationship together, you will look past those shortcomings and say, I will just conform to the ways of this relationship in order to keep it. And when you do that, at least I can say when I've done that, I've always lost a little bit of who I was. Because even though I may not have agreed with it, I'd just say, you know what? You got to look past it. But when you look past it, that means you're still involved with it. And if you're involved with it, it's real hard to rise above that. It's real hard to rise above that. And so that's why when I heard it, I immediately started thinking about those times when you feel like you're at your loneliest. And sometimes you have to really recognize something that's very important. I had to do this. The quality of what it is that you wanted to have around you. Is it better than just being alone? And because sometimes we'll just put frivolous things in our face just so we can avoid being alone with ourselves. But if you ask me what alone time means, that means alone time with God. And we'll avoid that. And the sad thing is when we avoid alone time with God and we just pick up the relationship and the partnership of just anybody, the sad part is we give up a relationship that could actually take us to where we need to go, show us what we need to see, and do for us in a way that no earthly man could ever do. And I've been guilty of that. Where the silence of not having anyone around just became so overwhelming that you would just, whether it was negative or positive, you'd do anything to get that back. You didn't want to be alone. Some people just don't like to be alone. But even when you look at books of the Bible and different people in the Bible, God has always had his most intimate conversations when he was able to get you alone. And if he couldn't get you alone in a public place, then God would banish you and put you inside of a prison or a desert. And he'd say, I'm going to get your attention. I need to talk to you. I need you to stop putting your trust and faith in men, and I need you to put your trust and your faith in me. And it's a real delicate balance when it comes to these relationships, because on one hand, I'm not the type of person that wants to hold something against you and treat you a certain kind of way, because I don't want nothing held against me, and I don't want to be treated the kind of way. But I also don't want to engage in the relationship. I don't want to engage in what's going on. I don't want to be a part of it. And it's almost like you gotta have a place inside of this situation where you just say, you know what, right here where we're at, this we can leave it right here, and we okay. Because once you start moving in the direction of what it is that God has for you, I tell you this much, you're not going to look back and you're not really even going to worry about that relationship, because it would have served its purpose. You didn't use anybody. You used each other. And if one of you was able to get something and the other one didn't, that didn't mean that the other person was denied the same access to learning from this relationship that you were. That means they just didn't take advantage of it. And sometimes people will just not take advantage of opportunity. And because they failed to take advantage of opportunity, then again, that relationship has you feeling like you need to do it. And that's why it's a good idea, not so much to break away, but to let it dissolve away. And that's what will happen. And when people try to hang on to temporary relationships, it just becomes such like a little cage match. Like, oh, I need to leave this person alone, or I need to go around them, or I miss them. And it's all for the wrong reasons. It's all for the wrong reasons. And sometimes, let's be honest. Let's look in the mirror and be like, am I the one doing the holding back, or am I the one being held back? What role am I playing? Because you're one or the other. Or you're motivating each other. And when you have relationships like that, well, that, my friends, that's channeling a whole nother level of energy and power. But it's important that you don't hold on to temporary relationships that need to dissolve away, forsaking your calling, your destiny, for a temporary relationship.